and security, and take off your shoes and take off your jerseys and stick your arms out and be patted all over, or have powder blown at you, or what are these other things that they do. It's not much fun, but I do it, and I get my reward when I come and spend a morning, as I just have, with these wonderful young people. So I want you to give them a cheer, because they are our future. And that's my greatest reason for hope. But in addition, there are 3 other reasons for hope. First of all, there's our brain. We have an extraordinary brain, don't we? I mean, just imagine things that were science fiction when I was a child have happened. We've sent people onto the moon. Wow. We could, if we wished, we could have this talk now, go out live around the world in real time, and people would be able to see, not only me but you. I mean, it's amazing what we've done with our technology. And there's an important question here. Our brain is almost the same as that of a chimp. It's just the chimp's is a bit smaller. And yet to compare human intellect with that of even the brightest chimp doesn't make sense. So how is it that the most intellectual creature that's ever walked on planet Earth is destroying its only home? What's happened? I think what's happened is there has been a disconnect between this clever brain and the human heart, the seat of love and compassion. And we need to relink the brain with the heart as we move forward, so that we stop thinking that the only thing in life is money and the bottom line, and we start thinking as the indigenous people did. How does the decision we make today affect our people generations ahead? Let's stop thinking, how does this decision affect me, or my next job opportunity, my next political campaign? Above all, let's stop thinking, how does it affect the next shareholders meeting 3 months ahead? But it's absolutely true, and some of the projects these young people have done are showing how the human brain can help us solve some of the problems that we've inflicted on this planet. Link that with the heart that they all have, and we're in for a better future for sure. Then there's the what I call the resilience of nature. I mean, it's unbelievable how a place that we have almost totally destroyed, just like the hills around Gombe, given time, perhaps some money, can once more bloom again. It is amazing. And if it wasn't for the resilience of nature, there would be absolutely no point in Lou Perotti and his team working to help restore the burying beetles, because there would be nowhere to restore them to. So the animals themselves are resilient. And Mark Johnson here with his team, what would be the point of his rescuing parrots if he couldn't find a place to release them in the wild? And fortunately, we can save those wild places, and we can restore places that have been despoiled. And we can rescue animals from the very brink of extinction. And the reason I wrote my last book, Hope for Animals and Their World, was to try and encourage young people to go on out there and to become involved in rescuing animals and environments. Every story in that book is a story of success. Every story is inspirational, and every story involves inspirational people who tackle seemingly impossible problems and won't give up. The inspirational human spirit. And they're all around us. And whether they're tackling burying beetles like Lou and his team, or saving parrots like Mark and his, or whether it's young people overcoming tremendous difficulties to do the projects they feel passionate about. Sometimes it's high-up politicians like Nelson Mandela, who emerged from 17 years of hard physical labor and yet had the ability to forgive, so that he led his nation from the evil regime of apartheid. But these inspirational people all around us, we can't give up. Of course there's hope for the future. the reason I carry my mascot, this is Mr. H. And it's the last story I'm going to tell you, but Mr. H was given to me by one of these indomitable human spirits. His name is Gary Horn. That's why this is Mr. H. Fortunately, H stands for hope as well. But anyway, Gary Horn went blind when he was 21, decided he'd become a magician, was told, Gary, you can't be a good magician if you can't see. He said, well, I'm going to try. He's so good, if he was standing here, you wouldn't know he was blind. He arranges his props beforehand. He does his shows for kids. And when he's finished, he tells them, and he says, you know, things may go wrong in your life, because we never know. But if they do, don't give up. There's always a way forward. And he does skydiving and cross-country skiing and climbs mountains and all those things that some blind people amazingly do. But he thought he was giving me a stuffed chimpanzee for my birthday 14 years ago. And I said, Gary, I know you can't see it's the wrong color, but I made him hold the tail. Chimpanzees are apes, and they don't have tails. He said, never mind, take him where you go, and you know I'm with you in spirit. So Mr. H and I have been together to 54 countries. And that sounds a lot. Mr. H is very famous. He sometimes has a whole front page of a newspaper to himself in places like Taiwan where they love him. But you know, 54 countries, about a third of the countries of the world, and both Mr. H and I are getting older. So 4 years ago, Mr. H Jr. was born. And this is how Mr. H used to look. Same shape, same fluffiness, same color. And Mr. H Jr. has this story around his neck in this little tag. And at the end it says, please take Mr. H Jr. and help Jane and Mr. H take a message of peace and love and hope around the world. So I hope that many of you will give Mr. H Jr. as an inspirational gift to somebody you care about. That's the message I was bringing for you today. A message of hope. If we give up, if we lose hope, then we may as well say goodbye to the planet for the future of our children. If our children lose hope, then we lose hope. So here you have about 100 New England, from high school down to, what are the youngest of you? 14, 12, 11, 5. All right, 5 through high school, also college, yes, also college. And we have here people who work for Roots and Shoots in the Jane Goodall Institute. They've got little badges on, they can tell you all about it. There are a lot of children out here and parents who are not involved in Roots and Shoots. But you know what? I hope that you'll find out today. And I hope that when you found out, you'll too want to start a Roots and Shoots group. It's pretty easy. And Sally is our director here. She can tell you exactly how to do it. And one of the main reasons why I would love you, your children, to get involved is because one young man who helped start Roots and Shoots in 1991 when he was 16, and he's now, of course, an adult in business. He said, what I love about Roots and Shoots is I know anywhere I go in the world, even if I know nobody, if there's a group of Roots and Shoots, I shall have found family. It's about growing a family. And so that's why I hope that many of you will get involved in Roots and Shoots and the Jane Goodall Institute. Thank you.
Is grounded in conservation and education. What greater conservation and education ambassador could we possibly have grace us here with a visit and Dr. Jane Goodall. Please join me one last time.